Nothing causes adult leaders to panic faster than hearing we're taking 30 teenagers internationally. Except maybe hearing the phrase, the price is just an estimate. That sentence can destroy a parent's Facebook group faster than anything on earth. Hey, this is Jake from Scouts, assistant cub master, scoutmaster, advisor, district member at large, and a guy who learned that international trip planning is basically just emotional support spreadsheets. Today, we're talking about the part of high adventure that worries everyone at first, the budget. Here's where most people get things wrong. High adventure trips don't fail because they're expensive, they fail because communication breakdowns. One of the fastest ways to lose a parent's trust is unclear pricing. You need to build honest budgets, not optimistic budgets, not magical fantasy budgets, real budgets. This means accounting for flights, transportation, lodging, food, activity fees, emergency costs, contingent money, gear replacement, and whatever financial disaster shows up 3 months before you're supposed to leave. Because eventually, that moment will arise when somebody says, did the ferry really just cost an additional $1,200? And you need to be prepared to have that conversation. One of the best things I've learned is that parents don't need cheap trips, but they do need predictable trips. You need clear expectations. What is included and what is not included. Are meals covered? How about souvenirs? How about checked bags? How about subway passes? How about emergency money? How about snacks? Because hidden costs kill things fast. And here's something a lot of people need to hear because time is money. If you've got some time, you can save some money. One of the biggest reasons why our trips stay affordable is because we do the legwork ourselves. We're not paying somebody else to package the experience for us. We're contacting airlines directly, hotels directly, hostels directly, excursion companies directly, scout camps directly, transportation companies directly. Because once you start talking to people, you're going to realize that there's a lot of discounts out there for youth groups, especially groups with students, especially large groups. You just have to ask. For comparison, the official projected cost for the 2027 World Jamboree US contingent is currently somewhere between $6,400 and $6,700, and that's per person. Honestly, for a lot of families, that's just not realistic. We've consistently kept our major international trips for the units under $3,000 a person, and they're not sleeping in ditches. We're often staying in hostels, scout centers, cabins, hotels with actual beds, actual walls, climate control, real plumbing, the luxury kind of stuff. It's not because we're miracle workers, it's because we actually put the time in. And that time usually means emails, phone calls, spreadsheets, follow up emails, more phone calls, comparing options, negotiating rates, asking about student pricing, asking about group pricing, asking what happens if your numbers change slightly. Most companies want large organized groups. 30 people showing up on a Tuesday morning, that is good for business, especially if you're polite, organized, and planning ahead of time. Honestly, you don't have to be a master negotiator. You just have to be organized, polite, and willing to ask one more question because convenience costs money, a lot of money. And let's talk about fundraising for a second, because when people hear that, they are picturing scouts aggressively selling popcorn outside of a hardware store in October. And that does still happen. If you really want to do high adventure and make it sustainable for your youth program, you need a strong fundraising arm. Not just one fundraiser, not just popcorn. You need a team of fundraisers. You need just a few adults whose mission is basically how do we help make this adventure financially feasible for all of our families? Here's an important part. Fundraising cannot just be door to door sales. People burn out fast. Your support burns out fast. Your scouts burn out fast. Your parents burn out fast. By the time you're actually delivering the first fundraiser, you're asking for donations for the second one. People need a break. A successful program is going to diversify the fundraising. Maybe you do one major door to door sale each year. Possibly two, but with real spacing between them. You got to give people 6 months to financially and emotionally recover from buying 27 bags of caramel corn. You need different fundraising approaches for different outlets. Look at your local community. Does your town have fairs, festival, holiday events, summer concerts, community days? Because honestly, a lot of units are sitting on major fundraising opportunities or sitting right in front of them. You can rent a lot of commercial grade equipment surprisingly cheap. Cotton candy machines, kettle corn, pizza ovens, popcorn machines. Suddenly, your troop isn't just asking for donations anymore, they're actually providing a service and demonstrating a skill. You could also do classics, car washes, bake sales, restaurant nights, raffle events, pancake breakfast, spaghetti dinners, golf tournaments if you're so ambitious. I've seen plenty of adults host Pinewood Derby nights, and honestly, adults will absolutely pay money to come race toy cars and relive them glory days. You could borrow a track from your local Cub Scout pack, charge an entry fee, sell some food, hand out ridiculous trophies, make it a whole event, and now you're bonding more with your local young pack. Here's another important lesson. The most successful fundraising units, they usually stop acting like they're asking desperately for help. Instead, they act like they're hosting an experience that you want to be a part of because excitement sells better than guilt and adventure sells better than obligation. That's something people don't talk about enough. Excitement creates momentum. When your unit starts doing ambitious things, people start to notice. Other troops notice, packs notice, parents notice, community members notice. Suddenly, people start saying, wait, your unit is doing what? That excitement matters because younger scouts will want to become part of something exciting. Cub Scouts will want to grow into something exciting. Parents will want their kids to be involved in a program that feels alive. Nobody gets inspired by, well, we had another committee meeting. People get inspired by things like these scouts are summiting Mount Fuji. They're paddling across Maine. They're navigating Rome. They're backpacking through Iceland. Adventure creates identity. Identity creates recruiting. If you want older scouts to be engaged, give them something worth staying for. You want younger scouts to get excited about crossing over? Show them where the road ahead lies. Honestly, some of the best recruiting is not done on a flyer. It is older scouts coming and talking about their experience. Excitement is contagious. When a scout is passionate about what they're doing, other people get passionate about it and want to be a part of it. Next episode: flights, trains, baggage disasters, and why transportation secretly controls your entire trip.